So the S&P 500 from the low around the 3,500 area through here, we're looking for a move back to the 61.8%, which is the 4,300. Take that with a pinch of salt, just roughly speaking. And this is a bearish count with wave A here, with an A and a B and a C wave here for the B wave. Now, we also have bullish counts. I won't go into that at the moment because it doesn't matter if it's bullish or bearish for the short term here, because all we're doing is looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside. Okay, so this will be the same with the Nasdaq and all the stocks that were, not all the stocks, because some of them are a little bit different than others, but generally speaking, the bulk of them, the herd, we're looking at this. Now, once we get past these, if we get past these 5 waves here, you know, we have a correction here and we can identify it as a bullish correction, well, then we'll simply move up with it, you know. I don't know if the whole market is bullish or bearish. There can be situations where, like, some of the banks, especially the regional banks, are very bearish, and some stocks like Nvidia would just about take out their all-time highs from over here. So those stocks, as I've mentioned before, those stocks that from the high to the low here, some stocks like Google and Amazon have just done this sort of thing, been quite low. There's other stocks like Nvidia that are and Apple that are pushing up quite high. So those stocks that are pushing up quite high, they will have ABC patterns back. They could come quite deep, you know, the 60%, and then push up from that point. The stocks that have been quite low here, if they have their B waves here, when these pull back here, these lower stocks that haven't moved up so much, they will make new lows here. Now, how far they come down, I don't know. We'll just count the, you know, count the structure as we go. So that's what I'm thinking, you know. But of course I can be wrong, and I'm aware at what point I would be wrong and what I need to do about that. So that's kind of the gist of it at this stage. With, you know, it hasn't really changed that much. So look, the S&P could turn bullish. We know that from the low volatility S&P 500 market. But, you know, I just want to be cautious, and I want to move off the evidence. You know, Elliott wave as evidence, you know, that's a bit suspect. But you know, I like Elliott. It's the, you know, it's the only sort of pattern recognition that can join all the dots in all different time frames over long and very short periods of time. So it's not perfect, probably because I'm not perfect, but I just use it to help me with the trade setups. That's all, to try to figure out the direction and hopefully, you know, sail in that journey in that direction. Anyway, this is this. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is what we're looking for in stock. So with the Nasdaq here, we were looking at the S&P on 50,000 ticks, and this is 20,000 ticks, so it's a little bit smaller with a bit more detail in it, but it's the same thing as well. We've got wave 1 here and 2 here, and we're going for 3, 4, and 5. So this is how we need to view most stocks. Now, as I mentioned, many will be different actually, but they'll generally sort of in their own pattern, they might have different patterns, but in their own way they'll top out pretty much together. Do you know what I mean? They're all bullish at the moment, aren't they? So, you know, so they move in herds, you know, so we're herd animals, you know. So yeah, look, that's it in a bit of a nutshell. So between 2 and 3 here, we're looking for 5 waves. So we're looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for green 1 and 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for green 3 and green 4, and green 5 for blue 3, 4, and 5. Now, that's all we can do at this point in time. That's what we're doing, you know. Speaking of, I've got the Garbo picking up the rubbish at the moment, and I just wanted to mention next Tuesday, we've got some plumbers that are coming in to dig out the road in front of us, which is right next to my office here, and I won't be able to do the videos. I think it's on the 23rd, which is next Tuesday, I think. and I'll get up a little bit earlier, and I'll try to do some videos as much as I can. But as soon as I start work at 7:30, I start work at 4ish. So I'll get some done, but I may not be able to get it all done. Anyway, I'll send you an email on that when I get the sort of facts on that. Okay, so yeah, this is where we are, you know. So that's that, really. So we'll go in and have a look at some stocks. So with Apple here, this is slightly sort of different, and I can count this up differently here. So if you've got it counted differently, you could be right and I could be wrong quite easily. And I don't think that this is probably, now that I sort of look at it a bit further, it's probably a little bit different than that too. So it'll just work its way to the upside here for this. So it's got a slightly different count, but it's doing its own thing. So we've got a few trades in here now. When the 5 becomes the retested resistance, then we can move the stop up, but we can't move it up at the moment because it could come back and test this low here, or even drop below that low. This move here is in 3 waves. It's corrective. So at the 5, the second strongest number, we've got the arrival, we've got the reaction, and we're looking for the first high above the level. So we're looking for 5 waves up. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got a little bit of a bit more of a shuffle to play out here, but it can come back technically to this one here and then move up again. So we need that low in before we can bring this stop across. In fact, we probably even need this one here. This will, if you want to take money off the table, then 178 and definitely 180. Okay, they're the sort of targets we're looking for to the upside there. So don't worry about this count too much, because, you know, I could look at it in different ways. I could put wave 1 here, for example. You know, that's definitely 5 waves in here. So I could build it in different ways. So I just want to let it run for a little bit, and I'll make some adjustments. But it's really all about this stop here. If you're not in this trade and you wanted to get into this trade, well, this pullback here on wave 4, and it may not even come back to the wave 4 here at the 174, maybe higher than that, but it should dip down below the 175, but not for long though. You know, it could be up here. So if you wanted to add, you could add there, and you see how that's in 3 waves. This should be in 3 waves as well. Could be more complicated, so you could go along above the B wave over here, and you can scale in through here as well. Now I should just sort of point out that we do have a group 2. So when we have 78, that's group 2. So we go to 17650, which is close enough, and then the 72. So that's a small, we're in minor group 2 at the moment in the bigger picture. That means that we've got, well, 65 here, 72 and 80, and there's a lot of other important things in here, but this is subgroup 2 here. So the market this is where we'll get our 3s and 4s from in here. This is where it will stall, and it will have problems getting in there at that point as well. So as long as you understand that number, 17650, that's important. So 175, 176, 17650. 176 and 177 are important, but this one is more. This one's more important. 6 and 7 create tops and bottoms, but this is where the setup is. So if I was going to add to my position, I want that 17650 as the support. Anyway, and if Friday closes strong, then Monday should follow through on that. I said that last week, and it didn't occur, but we didn't see Friday close strong. So it's kind of handy in a way if that bullish weekly cycle is playing out. This is Amazon here, so. You know, this is a little bit like I was talking about with the Nasdaq here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're coming up into we're in, as I mentioned yesterday, this little section here is pretty much the middle of the whole trend from wave 4 all the way up to wave 5 here. So that's the halfway mark. All of this here we can just flip over on its head and give us the other image for this side in a way. The only difference is wave 4 could be a bit sideways, while this could be a little bit sharper. So yeah, but coming up into this wave 3 here, blue wave 3, this is what this is doing here, 3, 4, 5. So we know the 130 is roughly our target area for this. We've got long trades in here on 1,000 ticks at the moment. So it just gives you a bit of an out, gives you a bit of a pathway, really, that's all. And 100 ticks here. Don't need to go too far back, but you know, always take these little lines that I draw with a pinch of salt, but just generally speaking, it's all about the 120, and then we'll have above that is group 1, which is 21, 22 and 23, rough as guts, but there we go, 21, 25. So yeah, it should play out at the 120 here with group 1 above and group 2 below. Basically, that's what we're looking at. So we've got this stop here. I think we've got other positions in here too, I think, from memory. Yeah, we've got positions down here for this. So yeah, we can't move until, yeah, I suppose I could bring it a bit closer. What's this, 5? Yeah, we could bring it up to here. That's but that's as close as we want to get at this particular point in time. So we're trying to get to the 130. So we've got to, you know, we're going to be stopping at this bus stop here and letting people off, and people are going to be getting on. So you can decide if you need to add or reduce at that side. If you're going to reduce, then getting out of this level or above this level over here. And this consolidation here is really important, because that becomes the support for this one and this one over here at that point. So it's just handy to know that it just sort of pivots into the future a little bit. But anyway, that's the pathway. Do what you need to do. The next one is Nvidia. So with Nvidia here, we're looking at slightly different sort of pattern, really. And I can count this up in this. Is a big long trend, this one here, and it can be counted up in different ways, but for the time being, this will take us to this wave 5 here, which is basically the Nasdaq wave 5 over here for this. I can have this as a large wave 1 up here, or I can have it as wave 3. In fact, there's a few counts that I've got for it. I don't want to confuse you with it, because I'm confused myself and it's not going to help you. But in the meantime, we're just looking for this to do the same thing as the Nasdaq is doing. Now, it looks really strong here, but just be aware that, you know, from this wave 4 here to this wave 5 here, this will probably be the center of it. So what you see here at the moment is not what you're going to get next. You always get the opposite of what you think you're going to get. And once you get that, so we'll be basically going into some 3s and 4s here. So it's going to be, you know, and this number's going to pull on it here, you know. So it's going to be like this, and eventually come back and pull into it, I'd imagine. So we'll just see how it struggles, because there's a beginning, a middle, and an end to a trend, you know. Yeah. So, but anyway, if you're trading this, the 333 to 330 to 340 is kind of where you'd be looking at. Meta platforms here, I still haven't sorted out a lot of this, but basically we've got 1 and 2 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 probably. So we've still got 3, 4, 5 to go in here, and then 4, and then 5 at this point. And then it's definitely going to have some type of correction across here. So this particular long trade that we just put in here for fun, really, you need to sort of dump it up here somewhere. Okay, I'd take half of it off at 250 and the rest at 253 to 255, just to be safe, you know. It's going to get a bit wild up here. The thing is, if you don't take some money off the table and you've got a lot on here and you're at a big number, it'll just pull your mind to it all the time, and then it makes you really emotional, because big numbers attract big orders, and you get the swings, and yeah, you know, happy, sad, you know, and it's a bit tiring being that emotional, you know. I mean, yeah. So Netflix here, if you can see it, the same as the Nasdaq as well, in terms of moving up into that space. So in this case here, we're looking from this low here, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. So somewhere up above the 400, you can be looking. I think we put a small trade in here yesterday, or the other day. So we could bring this up. We'll just bring it up into here, because group 2 is not quite support yet. These 4s are going to, you know, it could probably push up here. This looks like it's corrective, and it'll push up at this point. So I don't know if I want to put wave 4 just in here just yet, but we should be going higher. The 400 is where where we'll be looking at this point. So we'll just plonk that in there for that trade. You can add another little bit in here, but like I said, there's a beginning. Oh no, we've got these trades in here too. A beginning, the beginning here. This is the middle, and now we're going into the end. So the end is going to be a little bit different. So anyway, that's the target. That's where we're at. We've got these in profit, so all good at this point. And just a bit of an update on the new website. The website itself is basically done. We're just sort of doing some things for it. I have to bring across some educational stuff, and that takes a bit of time, and do some legals on it and those sort of things, and put the payment gateway on there. And I still need to bring everybody across and put on there. That's a lot of work. But the stock portfolio is done, and it should be being loaded on the server this weekend. So I'll be able to do all the help menus on that. And the crypto portfolio is being made now, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem because we can duplicate a lot of that from the other portfolio. So I still think we're probably 3 to 4 weeks away on things, and we'll probably end up using the site even if I don't have all the education on there. We've built another Elliott wave course, and I haven't redone the trading levels course. I should really do that. I'll put it on the list. But we'll try to get the main thing is getting the trades sort of happening on that portfolio, because a lot of people don't have time to watch these videos. They're great for learning and those sort of things, but people just want to make money too. So with the portfolio, they'll just be updated before the US opens, and it'll have the entry, the stops, and trailing stops, and those sorts of things, and pending trades for the next session, and all the rest of it. And there'll be trades that a bit like we're doing at the moment, but some of them are long term as well. So anyway, we're getting there. Okay, so for Enphase here, it's a bit like if we take the Nasdaq here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here and finish it around this time. From this point here, we're talking about 15 days here. So it depends how long wave 4 is going to take. So if this halfway took 15 days, well, then this can take 15 days to finish over here. So this will be about 15 days as well. So the A wave, the B wave, 1, 2, 1, 2, pushing up here for the third, fourth, is probably about right for this, So that's where that is at the moment. And Google here as well. So much the same as well. We're still looking for it to go higher around the 130 sort of area here. We talked about this yesterday. We've got a few positions in here and here. We can move the stop up here. We can put it under here. We've still got this blue wave 4 here. Think about this for a moment. We're at the 120. I'm just going to move it out of the way a little bit, because the thing is that we're really at the 120 here, even though it's trading above the 120. If the 23 here becomes the tested support, the group 1 of 120, then I know that it's leaving the 120. But really, we've had this is the support within group 2, and this is group 1 here, and it has pushed up. So even if it trades above the 3 there, it doesn't mean it's support. It's only support if we get a classic trading levels pattern. So it still technically could come back to the wave 4 one lesser degree before pushing up. Probably not, but that's what it can do. So that means we can't put the stop here if we're going to get clipped out and then sort of move off there, because we can only move the stop once each level has become that tested support, because otherwise you might as well just take some money off the top wherever you are. It's simpler that way, cleaner and tidier. So I have to leave the stop out of the way until this number is recognized as tested support, and this is the support here. But putting the stop here is just, well, it's kind of a bit risky really, isn't it? I don't mind taking a risk to make money, but I don't take a risk to lose money, so to speak. The odds are not there, Anyway, that's so yeah, let's just on the 50k here, we've been looking, just so we've got our bearings on this. We can look at in a bullish light as well. Of course, we we'll get to that, but an A and a B and a C for the W, and then the X here, and then an A and a B and a C wave finishing right here. So we can just push this up here. So let's push this up here. That must be the 50-60%. That's our target area here for that. I'll just bring these across here, push that up there a bit, always tweaking things. So we could have an A and a B and a C wave and finish there for that. I'm thinking that we could also look at it as an A, B, C here for the A wave and a B wave. And if it's a B wave, then the C wave up here will have 5 waves. So that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here. So there's a couple of different things to go on here. This would be the Nasdaq count going to here, and this is the other one here. Now I've got other markets that have got this 3, 4, 5 business going on here as well, and another leg to the upside. So I think that's kind of interesting, but we're just going to play to this point here. Any trades that we have will be to this point here. Now we do have bullish count for this as well, on the 20K probably here, which is really pretty much just the same as we've done then. So it's just wave 1 here and 2 here, 1 here and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. We've had this count for a long time, and it's kind of interesting to see this push starting to push up here, then this pushing up here, because really this would be the third of the third of the third of the third here, and it's showing doing all the right things for a bullish move. It's just that right at the beginning to label this 1 and 2 was kind of a bit sort of, oh, really, Pete, but yeah, it's sort of playing out. But anyway, we always just go step by step, we try to keep grounded, and that's what we're doing. So we'll just continue to do what we're doing. Microsoft. So if we look at the Nasdaq thing again as well with 3, 4, 5, that's what we should be kind of thinking over here as well. So 3, 4, and I don't think we've got a 5 over there, but we can put one there later. So that's where that is at the moment. We've got a couple of positions in here. We could probably move that up a little bit. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's probably not finished just yet, so we can put that up there. So we can expect a classic trading levels pattern to occur here. If you wanted to take money off the table, then this one here is you can either take it all off, or you can take a percentage off. But what can happen here is, we'll get this. This can come to the wave. These are the wave 4s here to that point at least. Oh yeah, it could drop further. Let's just anyway. It should be doing this. That's what we should be doing at this point. So if you wanted to take some money off at the tops here and then put it back on when it pulls back, that's okay as well. Can it just continue to climb here? Can I readjust this to to a different thing? Possibly. I could probably put just going to copy that there for a moment. I didn't really notice that little high there. So that means that I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for that. So that could actually just give me another 1 and 2 in there. So that could actually just play out as a little 1 in here, which is not bad because this is like a third wave here. So I could go 1 and 2 and 3. So that would actually lift it up a little bit further, which I think is probably about right. So yeah, if you take it off here, put it back in here, because we will be going higher at that point, but I won't move the stop any closer than it is at the moment. In fact, I'm just going to tuck it under here, because the thing is that this is group 1 here, and it's being tested as support because it's moved above it, but the 5 here hasn't been tested, and now we're up in 8 and group 2 here. So it's pretty powerful because it's in that third wave. So yeah, it doesn't really matter at this point. We're definitely still going higher. Nothing's going to change here. So we don't have to be fearful and put the stop up there just to be stopped out because we're scared. So old Bertie here. So we're looking at 3 and 4, and then 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and 1 and 2. And then we sort of here, I haven't really pulled this apart that much, but probably 1, 2, 3 there. I could probably put 3, and if I'm really conservative here, and then put this here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and have that there, and then that there, and then this here, and so on. So it'd be something like this. So anyway, it'll climb higher steadily. I mean, wave 1 wasn't that big, so we just really need to take out this here, So it'd be something like this, but it's pretty much in line with the rest of the market as well at this point. I could look at this as a wave 1 up here and coming back for wave 2 at that point, but this could also be the C of B up here. So the top, a top here. So, and like most of the market's going to be like this. So we just have to let them, we're making some money now, and we'll let them top and drop. And we could look to short some of them, have a bit of fun. But we just have to wait in this space over here to figure out if we're bullish or bearish in the next move. But we sort of want to be positioned for being bearish at that point. So we'll be doing that. Tesla here. So we can look at this as wave 2 here. That's okay, but it doesn't really give me the timing of having a top for the bear markets like with the other markets, which is okay too. It's okay to be different. It's okay to have a few different there to make you think outside the box a bit. But at the same time, what we need to do is we need to think, well, this is the length of this wave A or wave 1 here, right? So if we look for equality over here for this one, we should end up at 190, and we'll probably pull up to 200. I mean, folks just love, large numbers, so that's where we're probably heading to. I could count this in different ways. So it's probably 1, 2 here, and 3, 4, 5 for wave 1 here, and 2 here, and then 3, 4, 5 in that regard. That's probably what it will be like. I've just boxed it in with the trend lines here, but we're in group 2, 65, 72, and 80, and we stayed in there, so all that's pretty good. This is 1,000 ticks. I think we may have some small positions in here on the 100. Yeah, so just so from this situation here, this being 1 or A here, 2 or B here, I've got this one covered. I suppose I could, well, the problem with this is if I go 1, 2, and if we get basically what we're looking for here in one way or another, it's 1, 2, I don't know if it's going to be 3, 4 here and 5 here, but in some way or another, we're going to get some sort of ABC before pushing up again. So we don't want to get stopped out. So I'll just let this play a little bit, and I'll make some adjustments later. I'll give it some thought. I know I can count this in different ways here. I'm just wondering if I need to put wave 3 over here somewhere and wave 4 in here. So, but I'll just see how it ends up here, and then I'll know what to do with this. So if you want to take some money, then the 180 is the place. So you can either take it all, or you can take a chunk of it at that point, and we'll try to get it back in over here. But this consolidation here is going to be a nice support for this situation over here, for wave 2 over here. And we because the markets are so bullish, we probably won't come back that far. We could probably only end up sort of in here somewhere, for that. But that's the number to aim for at this point. We'll check on that on the Friday and the Monday. We'll see how we're looking at that. Okay, so for the banks, I won't look at Morgans or Goldmans. We've been looking at the banks in a bearish situation and a bullish situation. But the bearish situation is pretty much the dominant factor at the moment. And when you think that, if you have a look, we look at the Nasdaq here, and there's a good case for the bearish markets too, by the way, especially when you look at the Russell and a few other things. So, and the KRE, the what's the name? So let's just have a bit of a look at that actually while we're here. I'm just really looking at it for myself. See, this is what I think that, Bank of America and the other banks, they're moving up at the moment. These are the regional banks. They're moving up, but they're moving up on, let me just get these into the frame. They're actually moving up on lower volume here. So I just find this difficult to be an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave to here at this point. Do you know what I mean? I just think that we need to see 5 waves here, a correction, and then another 5 here. That's what I'm thinking. So, you have to remember too that this was the top of, the SP500, all the banks. And BAC has got a bit of a pattern. All the turning points here pretty much match up with BAC in that regard. And yeah, so when I look at that, and then I have a look at the Bank of America, all these turning points here are the same. They all pretty much the same here. So we could have a situation where up here rather in this. So it could be as simple as, on the bullish side of all of this, we can look at this as an A wave, a B wave, 1, 2, 3. We could go 4 and 5 to here, but we haven't made a new low here, so it probably doesn't make a lot of sense. But we could probably jam it in there, and that would be the B wave to the C wave, and that would be the end of it here. But we haven't made a new low from, just cleaning this up now, we haven't made a new low below here, but we can count that as 5 waves down here. You can still count it 5 waves to this point as well. So it hasn't made a new low here, and this is confirmed as a corrective move here because this move down here took that low out here. Now, it could be a situation where we could even put this as wave 1, 2 here, as I've mentioned before, and put wave 3 over here, not that one, this one, over here as 5 waves here, and then have an A and a B and a C wave coming all the way back up here for wave 4, and then have a wave 5 down here. So that's possible. So what we're doing at the moment, we're just looking at this in terms of, well, this move down through here, what that does now, we were looking and waiting for it to have a rally off the lows here. So that means that in one way or another, we can put a line in the sand here and have that as the short trade at the moment. Because if that's breached, we're going to be going down at that point. Now, the thing is here is, do we just have this as a little ABC rally coming in here? Or is this going to go up to here further and then drop at that point? I didn't mean to do that. Up here and then drop at that point, or is this the low and it's going to keep on going at that point? So what I'm doing is that I know all the markets are bullish and everybody's feeling good, and but at the same time, we have to prepare for the other side, So what I'm thinking is that we can still have much more of a bearish pattern unfolding for the banks. So that means that this would be 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here and 1 and 2 here. If that's true, that can come down pretty quickly at this point. Do you know what I mean? So it would come down in a sense that this next move that came, let's just say that we know things are positive at the moment. We know that, we can look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and we can go up here for 5, and it may even extend up here higher, right? But the next move down, wherever it comes from, when it comes down, it's going to be in 5 waves, and then it's going to have another little rally here. A smaller version of this whole move down as 1 and 2 here. So a smaller version, 1 and 2. So then we're going to take this over here and we're going to put it over here for that. So we're going to prepare to be short. Now, will we get it? I think that we will, but it may take longer than I expect because of, the Nasdaq, needs kind of 15, another 10 days, another week or so up here, to finish off. So when that finishes, then the S&P is going to finish and everything else is going to finish. And, we may be at that point. So what could happen is that when this wave 4 happens here, right, that could be the catalyst for this move down, right? And then when this goes up here for wave 5, this will be this rally here struggling to go up. And then we'll know, then we'll know at that point. And that will be the trade, because this will be, I don't know what's going to come. I don't know what skeletons are going to drop out of the closet. But when you think about it, if this is 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, well, then some large institution is going to reveal, some bad numbers on their books in one way or another. Something's going to fit the news here. Put it that way. Is this true? Is it going to happen? I know diddly squat really, but And it may not happen, but if we're prepared for it and it does happen and we are short, well, then we've done our job properly. That's all I can say. And if it doesn't happen, well, I don't consider myself a loser. I take winning and losing in the same stride. It's well, I try to anyway. So we're all doing the best we can. But anyway, this is what I'm thinking. So we'll just sort of stay with this, and on the from 10,000 ticks to 10 ticks here, just to drill into this area here a little bit. So we pick it up here, because see, what I know is that this move that moves up here, we've come down and taken that low out, a bit like the Russell has done the same thing, So yeah, let's just see. This is the 50-60% box here. Let's just see how that plays out. I mean, the only other thing I can think of is that this become, if this is going to push up here somewhere, then this will be a wave 4 up here, and then turn from that point. But because this low hasn't been breached here, this is still a corrective pattern at this point. So this is the one that sort of haunts me a little bit, So anyway, enough waffling. So I'll leave all that at that. This is just Johnson & Johnson here. It still hasn't gotten up off its low here, but it has edged closer to the 61.8%. But yeah, I just don't know. I mean, 15 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's not going to get up here. So this is probably bearish. It's probably that we've got this here as the A, the B, and the C wave here for the B wave in here already or something. But it's hard to look at that too, because I could go 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, because that would be in line. Nothing's been breached for that. So we might need to look at this a little bit differently. It's just the timing of it's not good enough to give me that move up here, I mean, I can see the stochastics wanting to move up, but we've seen that here too, that, they can flatline here. So when they do flatline here, then you have to go to a higher degree of structure, like a weekly or, 2 days or something, to try to figure things out a bit. Anyway, that's all of that. So thanks for tuning in and enjoy the weekend. Cheers.